This is the sixth and final version of the horizontal Langstroth hive that I've developed. I'll just point out a few of the features. Firstly, with the base, have a nice wide landing strip, has the beetle trap underneath, which has a recessed mesh so that the bees, when they chase them around the side, the beetle have no option but to end up in there and in the diatomaceous earth. It has cleats, 3 cleats on the bottom with holes through it, with the idea of being able to move the hive with the help of someone else, and a couple of broom handles through. The hive can be left or right entry depending on which way you mount the box onto the base. In this case I've assembled it with the left hand entry. You can see the nice wide landing strip, and the entrance width is such that if you do use Apithaw, you cannot put it in the wrong way around. It also has a locking stainless steel latch, which makes for a nice secure hive. The design of the hive means that there's no heavy lifting of supers full of honey, which makes it ideal for people with physical limitations such as bad backs or even people in wheelchairs, because there's no heavy lifting at all. The most you have to lift is a frame full of honey at a time, which is only a few kilos. Lifting the roof, you can see the interior with the various lids, vents at the top and at the back, keeps it nice and cool in summer. The vents here can also be used to smoke the brood or the super before you go in, if you have any concerns about it. The lids are beveled with these entrances, so you can just slide your hive tool in and lift up the lid. 2 different size lids with the vents in for the brood area, so you can have an 8-frame brood box, or by simply moving the queen excluder along a couple of frames, you can have the 10-frame brood box. Then you have your super area. It's a total of 24 frames, which is the equivalent of an 8-frame Langstroth, with 1 brood box and 2 supers. It uses the standard full depth Langstroth frames, so that potentially beekeepers who are getting on a bit, I've spoken to a few who have been talking about changing over to ideals because they can't lift the boxes. They already have a stack of full depth frames, so this is the perfect situation. The vertical queen excluder separates the brood area from the supers, and if it's time to do brood inspection, you don't have to open up the whole hive, and you don't have to lift off heavy supers, which means it's more likely to get done as required. Just a matter of taking off the lid covering the brood area, whether it's the 8 or the 10, and then carrying on your normal brood inspections. So when it's time to do swarm prevention, it's simply a matter of moving your super frames along, transferring a couple of frames of brood across to the other side of the queen excluder, and then closing it back up. It's as simple as that. And what happens then is that once the brood hatches out, you can take the old brood frames and rotate them out. What we do is we move them up to the end of the box here, and we find that the bees clean them out for you, and you can then cut them out and dispose of the old comb. Other interesting thing we've found is that the bees tend to fill the supers with honey, starting from the queen excluder and working their way out. So when it comes time to collect honey, it's a matter of picking out the first one and saying yes, it's ready to take. The second one, yes, it's full. Third one, not quite full. So you can then just slide the rest back up, and they'll continue to pull them out that way. So you don't end up with a situation with, same with the Langstroth hives, where the bees seem to fill them all up and then have it all the frames 70% capped or 80% capped. Here they tend to fill them up fully, and they're progressively filling them up on their way. Another advantage is on those really hot days when all the bees are out beating because it's too hot to be in, you can just prop the lid open and it gets much more ventilation through with the larger opening.